Hello, everyone. My name is Seva. I'm the CEO and founder of Plurio, and this is Max.
Hello everyone, and happy to see you today.
Yeah. Today, Max will tell us how he uses AI agents for performance marketing. And before we dive there, just tell us a few words about yourself, about your position, goals, life.
Hello everybody, and I'm really happy that so many people they've joined us today. So I know that we have more than 1,000 registration on today's live, and this is really cool that you joined today. And I'm really happy to show you some use cases and automation, some frameworks, which I will show to you. Yeah, my name is Max, and I work as a VP of Performance Marketing in TripleTen. TripleTen is an educational company, which actually we operate on two markets. The first one is US market, and the second one is LATAM market. And basically, TripleTen is a company where we sell educational programs for those people who really want to change their career, and I'm responsible for their user acquisition. My main goal is to attract new customers via paid channels. We work with Meta, we work with YouTube, we work with search, we work with TikTok, and we have a pretty huge monthly budget. That's why today I'm going to show you how do we make decisions regarding our performance channels and performance marketing activities, and how do we use AI. So we have so many cool things which I really want to show and discuss with Seva. So that's why, yeah. And if you have any questions, so we will be really happy to answer. And I know that we will have a lot, so that's why just type question on whatever you want, and we will answer. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of people are asking if there will be a recording. I think it will be, and it will be sent to everyone the same way, like to everyone who have registered. Okay. Where do we start? So, Max, probably could you share a screen and just walk us through like what you're responsible for, like the product itself, and then.
Yeah, I just want to start with one actually huge idea why we decided to make this webinar today. Basically, I work with acquisition and performance channels for more than 8 years. And we do believe that when you scale your performance channels with like millions of dollars, so we came up with an idea that you have to use some automation and some technology in order to make decisions faster and more accurate. And we also do believe in the team that when humans, when they try to make a decision regarding campaigns, regarding creatives, usually we make like mistakes. And that's why we decided to come together and understand actually, is it possible that AI can really help us to make decisions like more accurate, more objective, and with a better profit for the company? That's why I'm going to show you right now what we actually do and what we changed in TripleTen regarding how do we make decisions in performance with using AI. So I'm going to show the screen. Give me a second. So can you see my screen now?
Not yet. I think the webinar team should like put it live.
Yeah, probably it's loading. Yeah, just let me know when it appears for viewers.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, great. So basically, today's webinar, we have two parts. So the first part, I want to tell you how do we, in acquisition team, in marketing, how do we identify our KPIs and targets? Because this is really crucial how we align with our metrics in KPIs in acquisition, because this is a really crucial step before we jump into automation and some AI frameworks. And first, I want to tell you that I will show you today a lot of numbers and metrics. So these numbers, they are not connected with our real numbers and our actual numbers. Of course, I'm not going to show you publicly our real numbers, but all frameworks, all automation instruments, all processes, which I will show you, it's actually pretty the same that we use in production. So let's start. The first that I want to tell you, how do we identify KPIs for acquisition? Like my main KPI, the KPI of my team, is to attract new customers. And the first, which is really crucial, let's dive into the funnel of TripleTen, because the funnel of TripleTen really influence like what metrics do we need to use when we make some decisions. So we like educational company, and we sell pretty expensive courses. Like our average check is around $6,000. And in order to sell this product to a customer, we have a sales team. So usually a student, he lands on the website, then he fills the form, and then he talks with our advisors. And if we talk about our funnel, so there are a lot of crucial steps, which I'm going to tell you. Like the first, we have a lead. Basically, this is a person who filled the form and we have his email and number. We call this stage deal. And we call this first metric in the funnel like cost per deal, which is a really first metric to understand, evaluate like our creatives or ad sets. The second, which is really important, then when a user fills the form, we have like our AI agent sales manager. Basically, this is AI sales manager who connects with the student, and then he makes the first discovery. During this call, we understand his motivation, his background. We understand, does the student employed or not? So this is the first stage that we have for all our users who fill the form. And of course, if it's the second stage in the funnel, so we have the second metric like cost per AI connection. During this call, we identify, is a user, is he qualified or not qualified? We have a metric marketing qualified lead. In general, like a lot of companies, they use a metric MQL. Basically, it's marketing qualified lead. So we have some like understandings. How do we qualify him as a marketing qualified lead? For example, if a student is not employed, if he's unemployed, so he's not marketing qualified lead. After we identify him as a MQL, we transfer this lead to the sales team, and salesperson, he communicates with the student, he like make a discovery, he provides information about our product. Basically, he's trying to close the student to a purchase. Then we have a pretty important metric, which is purchase for the first month. If you work in a company with a pretty huge sales life cycle, you have to understand like how many purchases can you generate for the first months of leaving the student in the cohort. So that's why when we track the student, we can actually understand how many purchases we will have in the current month. And then we have all purchases. All purchases means that some students, they need more time in order to make a decision. And that's why the whole picture is we have a lead, then we connect the student with AI. We have MQL, SQL, purchase for the first month, and all purchases, because some students, they will not purchase in the current month. Probably they will purchase in the second month, in July, in August, in September. And why I'm talking about this, because this is really important. It really helps to understand like what's our main metrics here. And the second, what I want to tell you, that in order to set great automation, so we actually have to make some optimization in channels and campaigns. The second crucial part is to understand that we have a planning system, which I want to talk about it. So every month, every manager in my team, so we have to align and we have to create a plan for each channel that we are going to run. For example, this is a July planning. So we have different channels that we are going to run, like YouTube, search, Facebook. And this is really crucial to align with all metrics in the funnel. So we have to make a forecast, like how many deals do we expect from YouTube? What's our target cost per deal? How many AI connections we will have? What is our target cost per AI connections? We basically have to set up all metrics that starts from leads and end with purchases. This is really important because next I will show you some automation, some instruments which help my team to make decisions better. But we have to provide to AI what's our KPIs and targets to make this process more objective and more transparent. Every month, like in June, in May we did it, in June we did it, in August we did it. Every month we gather together and we have to plan all our KPIs for all our channels. What is also important here that KPIs, they are different. For Google search, the cost per lead can be higher than in YouTube and Meta because we track the warmer audience. This is the first, which is important. The second is that we usually divide our channels into two separate groups. The first one is like channels that we're going to scale. We're really sure that these channels will have a very healthy unit economy. This is scale channels. And also we have some experiments, like we make experiments with events optimization, with funnels, with a lot of things. And we have a rule that the ratio for experiments should be less than 15% of overall budget that we have. And basically, what's a successful thing that we have here? So basically, now we have KPIs. For each channel, we have KPIs for all metrics in the funnel. And then we will jump into the AI agent. All these metrics, they are connected with our AI system, that our agent understand what's our target, what's our KPIs. And this is really, really important. So that's why I decided to talk about this process today, because it's really connected with future automations that I'm going to show you. So,
cool. Quick question there.
Yep.
So do you treat these channels equally in terms of target cost per purchase, or do you like add additional value to YouTube, Meta, like discovery channels?
Yeah, this is a really good question, because, for example, you can see here that for Google search, the customer acquisition cost for the first month is higher than average. But we know that students who pay program our course from Google search, they also have a higher LTV. So that's why here the CAC, customer acquisition cost, can be bigger just because the LTV is higher. This is the first difference. The second difference, that's we in the marketing team, we also know how to calculate the influence of paid channel to organic. That's why, for example, usually we decide to scale YouTube and Facebook, because these channels, they also influence our organic. We have a special metric in our in-trend reporting. This is indirect purchases. And when we compare channels together, so when we not only look at like how many direct purchases we have, how many, like what's our direct customer acquisition cost, we also look at how many indirect purchases we have. These purchases that came from organic. So yeah, two things actually.
Right.
The first one, LTV actually influence like the target CAC here, and the influence of media channels. Yep.
Actually, I see a similar structure across multiple teams. So everybody has one way or another to set their high-level targets and then decide what are the right targets, benchmarks, plans for specific channels or campaign types. And this becomes like an input for the whole user acquisition team to work with like over the next week, months, or quarter.
Yeah, and one important thing that I want to add, like, why do we need so many metrics here in the funnel? Because the main problem, the main challenge, that's when we attract a user on the website, we have a very long life cycle from user to an enrollment and to a purchase. It can take like weeks, so we can see like real purchases in the report. That's why we have to in advance understand like, will we have purchases from this channel, and will it be efficient for us? That's why we have so many metrics that we have to evaluate between the lead and purchase to be sure that the we will have a purchase and the unit economy will be healthier. It usually works with all businesses, like the B2B businesses, with all businesses when there's a delay between a lead and a purchase. So that's why there are so many metrics actually that we need to monitor.
Let's move to the next part. So what do you do with this whole channels and targets?
Yeah. Yes, and this will be like the most interesting part today for this webinar. So as I said before, we do believe, and I do believe, that if we want to make our performance efficient, basically, how do you usually make decisions? Usually you have like a reporting system, maybe it's in Tableau, in other BI instruments, and usually a user acquisition manager, he see like actual metrics, then he compares actual metrics with KPIs, and then he makes some decisions like increasing the budget, turning off some creatives, scaling some ad sets. But this is a very simple exercise when you have to compare your actual numbers with KPIs. And when humans make it, we make a lot of mistakes. First mistake that we usually make, like that sometimes we make decisions not based on significant data. We just see that we have like one purchase, 2, 3, 5 purchases, and we decide that yes, so we have to scale this campaign. Or we run a new package of creatives, then we've got like 3 leads and we see that the CPL is very good, let's scale it. But this is like absolutely wrong. That's why the first mistake that's usually humans make, just because we don't make like decisions not based on like actual significant data. And the second issue that I have, that's we just humans, that's why sometimes we forget to do something properly. We can forget that we have to check this ad set, check this campaign. We can forget that we have to scale this campaign. And I always face with this problem that's like very simple exercise. But as we have so many campaigns, so many ad sets, I want to be sure that everything is really working with proper algorithms, criteria, and proper rules. That's why we in the team, we decided to like start working with Plurio, because Plurio is actually like your AI analytic assistant who can make the same decisions, but more objective. So if you create like prompts and rules, it will work the way that you created. That's why we decided to use Plurio, and I'm going to show you what we actually have here and why I'm so excited when I'm talking about this. The first, like, what is actually how it works? The first, that's we have our own end-to-end system. By end-to-end, I mean we have our reporting, like we have our reports in Tableau. And the first step was to connect our existing data in our report in Tableau that we previously used on a daily basis with Plurio. So we connected it. And now Plurio receives on the daily basis all our metrics like costs, leads, deals, calls, purchases, all data that we actually store regarding our marketing campaigns. This is the first step. The second step, if you want to make decisions like better, you have to describe, let me show, you have to describe to an AI agent like your context. Basically, when you work with Claude Code, it's pretty the same. So you have to like upload your documents regarding your funnel, regarding your metrics. And we have so many assets here. For example, we uploaded like our database structure. This is a huge document which describe all our metrics, channels, like how it's namings and a lot of things. We also describe like all our funnels here. We also describe actually how do we make decisions. Like there are a lot of documents here that we provided to an agent. That agent will operate the way that we already work as humans. So a lot of things. Plurio, for example, it knows like information about who is our target audience, personas, a lot of things. So we just put all the information here. And now as you have like data, also you have a context. Let's look at real automation frameworks that we use on the daily basis. So I'm going to show it right now. probably I need to make. Yep, this is the first one. So basically it works the same way as skills in Claude. Like you have a skill actually is an exercise that you want to make on the daily basis. And as I said before, we have a lot of channels. Like for example, we have Meta, we have Google, and we have a lot of ad sets in Meta because sometimes we just duplicate ad sets, sometimes we create new ad sets. So we have more than 10, sometimes we have 20 ad sets that can be run simultaneously. And this is very difficult to make decisions properly if you have so many campaigns, so many ad sets. That's why the first skill, this is a skill that helps my team and my user acquisition manager to better understand like what ad sets do we have to scale and what ad sets do we have to decrease or what ad sets do we have to optimize or turn off. Let's see how it works. Like the first one, it's for Facebook. What we have here. So the first one, we have ad sets. Like we have a lot. And the goal is to understand like what asset, it can be campaign or ad set, what asset we have to scale. The thing is that as we uploaded all KPIs to agent, so the same KPIs here, we uploaded here, and it has our current metrics actual. So it calculates our current metrics and it just compared these actual metrics with targets. For example, we have the first ad set here, ability to pay 5, lookalike audience, and it compare important metrics in the funnel with our target metrics. Like AI Connected is actually one of the stage in the funnel which is really important for us. So it identifies how many people do we have who have a call with sales AI manager. And this is a very important metric. And you can see here that the actual number is $6. It's automatically compared with our target metric. And that's why we can see here, yes, this is a green flag for this metric. This is good. But this is more complex than you can think because it's also measure not only one metric, it also measure all metrics in the funnel which have enough data to make this measurement. That's why it's also measure cost per deal. We can see here that the cost per deal is $3 versus $6 as a plan. And finally, we can see here that for 2 metrics, it works pretty well. But what I really love in this table, that it's also automatically calculated the forecast for customer acquisition cost based on these metrics, actually metrics that we have right now. Agent, it has all historic data for ad set, or if there's no historic data for ad set, it uses the historical data for a campaign. It takes conversion rates, historical conversion rates, and using it in order to make a forecast, like what will be their customer acquisition cost for a specific ad set. And yes, like this is great. This is the first ad set that we see here. That's the decision that we have to scale this asset. Why? Just because the AI connection is very good, the cost per deal is very good, and the forecast for customer acquisition is very good. That's why this like a function that may help my user acquisition manager. Yes, we have to scale it. I can click on this and it will be scaled. And we have these measurements for all ad sets that are running right now. So there's the second one. The decision is lower. So this is a priority second. Why is a priority second? Because the customer acquisition cost forecast is higher. That's why the priority is lower. So first of all, we have to scale this ad set, then we have to scale this ad set. But it really helps because previously, what you have to do, you have to go to your reporting system, you have to find this ad set, you have to actually find these metrics, and also you have to understand, like, do you have enough data to make this decision? Here, AI agent, it always analyzes metrics when there is enough data as we actually identify what is enough for us. For us, we decided to make like a research and we identified that if we have 30 conversions per metric. So this will be pretty solid to make a decision. If there's 10 conversions, so there's a very high chance that we will make a mistake. And user acquisition manager, he can look at this table and he really understands like what he has to scale and what he doesn't have to scale. We also see here that there are some ad sets that we have to optimize. Why? Because one of the metric in the funnel, the cost per deal, is more expensive than it should be, and it's on significant amount of data. That's why the next step that user acquisition has to make is actually, he sees that the customer acquisition cost will be higher. That's why he has to jump into the creative part, which I will show you later, and make some decisions here, like turn off some creatives which don't work, or add some top performers which actually work. But this is a signal that, yes, we have to do something in order to make this ad set or a campaign better. And it's not only about Meta, it's also work the same way with Google and search, some campaigns. Like there are some campaigns that's actually agent recommends to stop. Why? Because there are metrics here which are connected. They are much more expensive than they should be, especially, I'm not sure that you see this. This is like small numbers, but it's like the cost per deal is almost 3 times higher. More than 40 conversions. Yeah. It means that if we do not make anything here, we will have a very, very high customer acquisition cost. So that's why we have to make it. So it really helps. I mean, we save a lot of time, like on the daily basis, manager, he opens the table, he see what the agent actually calculates on the daily basis, what he recommends. And this is very cool because agent, there's a main metric here. This is the main metric. And agent independently identify what is a metric we have to choose to make decisions more objective, because the main metric here is the cost per deal, not cost per AI connected. Why? Because for AI connections, we still did not collect like 30 conversions. That's why for cost per deal, we collected this data. And this is the main metric here. We can see here that the value is lower than a goal. That's why, yes, so we can make a decision that we have to scale it. Why we make decisions so fast? Because when we identify our stages in the funnel, we made a research where we identified that all the stages, they are connected and they have a very good correlation between all stages in the funnel. It means that if we have a very good cost per deal, we will likely have a very good cost per AI, cost per MQL, and etc., etc. That's why from the first time we made a research to understand, like, do we have a correlation between all these metrics? We identified yes. So that's why it's absolutely fine to make a decision here, because it has a very strong correlation to other metrics. But when agent will have more than 30 conversions, not for deal, but for AI connections, the main metric will be AI connections. If we have more than 30 conversions for MQL, it will be MQL as the main metric, but we still have to monitor other metrics in the funnel. So, which I really, really love.
Hey, Max.
Yeah.
So you showed like a lot here. Let's reiterate the key points. So what actually changed for user acquisition manager? How did his like optimization work looked before and now?
Yeah, how it was actually before. Before, he had to open the report. Sometimes he opens, sometimes he doesn't. For example, he could make a decision that's maybe let's do it tomorrow, not today. And even if he opens the report, so he can make decision not based on this metric. He can probably use another metric in the funnel, which actually has a very lack of data, and just make a decision, like a wrong decision. But the problem that's even if he needed to make a decision, he has to find this ad set. Then he has to look at actually, like for the past 3 days, for the past 7 days, he had to compare this with the previous window. He had to make a lot of calculations in his mind to make a decision actually, do we need to scale this ad set, or do we need to make something or not? Because sometimes it's really important here. Here is a really good example that we have an ad set that's for the primary metric works absolutely fine. But we see that the cost per deal has been started to increase. It's actually a trend that shows us that in future, this metric also will be increased. And we have to identify it very fast, that we need to make some changes in this ad set, like to turn off some creatives. And if you have like 20 ad sets and also you have a lot of campaigns here, it's really like takes a lot of your resources to make this research and to make it like to make like good and objective and transparent and etc. So now it's very fast and it's very easy. And what is also very important, we created this system together. So like I and my user acquisition manager and my team, we absolutely align with the framework that we together decided to use. Like we decided to use, like we agreed that 30 conversions is a minimum for us. We agreed that these stages in the funnel are important for us. We agreed like if there are 2 greens here, we need to scale it. And if a forecast here is also like, is forecast CEC is also good, we have to scale it. Like we absolutely align like with our approach. And now I am very sure that he uses the system the same way that we designed it.
So basically, you already had data platform, your data warehouse. You already had your full funnel dashboards. You already had your attribution. The issue was that there is just too much data to look at manually to make individual decisions about campaigns and ad sets. By the way, how many ad sets and campaigns are there? Is it like tens, hundreds, thousands?
So Meta simultaneously, we may have around 20 ad sets. And in each ad set, we can also have more than 5 creatives. Like it's huge. In YouTube, we have approximately around 4 campaigns. In search, we have 2 campaigns. But still, like this is a lot, because when we're going to scale, we will have even more campaigns and more ad sets, because sometimes we use an approach where you can just duplicate your successful campaign or successful ad set in order to have the same result. And we will have more ad sets and more campaigns just because this is an approach that is used to very like famous among like performance teams and some companies which really want to scale very fast.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the next question is, what did it change for you as a manager of the team?
Yeah, actually, I'm also the person who opens these like tables on the daily basis. This is not just for the audience. This is not only the one that's we will show to you. We have a pretty more very interesting like items that we use in TripleTen. But yes, so I'm also check it because I really want to be sure that like everything is fine, everything is good. And sometimes I ask some questions to the team, like, do we scale it or not? The first one. The second, I love it because it's very transparent. My main problem was like, as a manager, if you agree on something with your team, you will not be sure for 100% that all people on your team will make like decisions the same approach that you agreed. Yeah. So that's why you can actually have some beliefs that's and you also the same, you're like asking like what metrics do we use, like are we sure or not? That's why now I'm pretty sure like we are looking at the same window, the same approach framework, the same metrics. So we basically have to make decisions what agent make here. Like I love it. Like if we will be in a huge fail, let's say that we will make some decisions like we will increase the budget. If we will make a huge fail using the system, but we will make it together. Like we will say, it's not our problem. It's the problem how we designed the system. That's why I love like then the problem is not about humans, like, and that's humans can make mistakes. The problem is like an approach, and we can change the approach and then see different result. That's what I really love. There's no human mistake here.
Got it. Cool. And like, is this the first iteration of this, or like, how did it evolve?
Oh, basically, I spend hours to make it like the way I really want to make. Yeah, another thing that I really love here, that's here, like the column, the forecast for customer acquisition cost, which I really love. Let's imagine that you want to add this metric in your current reporting system, like in Tableau. The scenario is that you have to create a task for your analytics team, and then it will be in a backlog, and probably this task will be managed and not. But what I really love, that's when you use any AI, so you can actually just ask like in an agent, hey, I want to add here like the CAC forecast for ad set. I want it be calculated like if you do not have any significant data for ad set, just use historical data for this specific campaign, and agent will make it. For example, let's say that we want to not only add customer acquisition cost, but we want to add LTV metric here together, just to calculate like the ratio CAC to LTV. If you have a data set which is connected to an agent, like you can just simply tell him, hey, what I want to really do in this table, I want to also calculate the LTV metric, which will be set near the customer acquisition cost. And now I'm going to explain you how we should calculate it. We do not have the data set actually with our purchases and revenue and check, but this is the way how I actually like how I work with this. I want to add something, it's appeared. Oh, and let's another example, the ranking. Here you can see the priority first, priority second. Previously, we did not have any rankings. Like it was like chaotically appeared here. But then I told the agent that let's set the rank first for those campaigns and ad sets which have a better customer acquisition cost. Just literally, I told it here in the chat, and then it added here, like, and then this it's sort by the CAC. So that's why I'm very exciting. I'm not gonna to sell you anything here, but I'm really exciting like about the product. I love it a lot, and I wanna on a daily basis I invent some things which can really help my team to make decisions like faster, more objective. I'm really inventing, and like, this works, this is not works. Okay, let's remove it, let's add it. But this iteration, it took maybe like a week to make it happen. But this is not the final one. I'm truly sure that there are like a lot of things that we can improve here. That's why tomorrow I will also jump in the chat and we'll be inventing something new.
A question from the chat. So what does the agent actually do? Is it just like analytics and reports, or like what else?
The first one, it makes all calculations. Like the first one, it uses the raw data, it makes all calculations here, then it puts these calculations in the table, and it gives you some recommendations. The second, that based on these recommendations, there are actions, and you can directly from the chat, you can implement actions, you can increase the budget, you can stop something, you can duplicate ad set, whatever you want.
Show the list of possible actions there. Right on the button. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's not.
Yeah, here
here's just
will
one
not
action,
be
suggested action, but there are multiple possible actions. Okay.
So they can be actions like stop, increase. They can also be actions that will be connected with duplications. So, and yep. But another thing that I can actually do with this, let's say that we have like this ad set. I can tell an agent like, So could you please identify what specific creatives influenced this increasing in the cost per deal? So now the cost per deal is $8 versus 6. So let's try to identify those creatives who have like a more expensive cost per deal and show these creatives. Tell you one more time that this data that I'm showing, this is not real data, not connected with TripleTen in terms of figures. That's why probably he will not find, but let's try. So let's try. He started to make, we will see it a bit later. Yeah.
While it's working, we can keep it on the screen. A question from the chat. Do you have different rules, instructions, workflows for different stages of the creatives and ad sets? Is it different for experimental, for evergreen, or how do you work with that?
Yeah, this is a good question. When we launch new creatives, we even actually, of course, we're not waiting until, let's wait. When we launch creatives, of course, we're not making decisions regarding calls, MQLs. Like the first main metric that we use, just leads. And we have automation that turn off a new creative if it's higher than our benchmark. Like we launch a creative pack, it has to spend each like $100 each, and then we received like results for the cost per lead. And actually, at the beginning, we even got results for their CPC and CTR. And if creatives are not aligned with our benchmarks, it just automatically stopped. If the creative aligns with the cost per lead, it moves to another stage of evaluation, like sales call, and another, and then finally, we try to evaluate creatives by purchases, but it's really difficult because it's really difficult to have so many purchases for each creative. That's why I would say 90% of all our creatives are shut down based on the cost per lead, like the first metric, which is, I absolutely agree, which is like a right decision. But if we have these other 10% of creatives, it evaluates this stage and this stage then when we spend more budget.
Got it. Let's get back to the chat and see if it produced something.
Wow, this is very nice. I mean, look, we have 3 creatives here in the ad set, which actually one is paused, which is very good because it means that the user acquisition manager made it absolutely great. And we have 2 creatives here, like the first one, Joro, the Suleiman. Probably, I think we have to stop this one because it's $9 versus 6, and this is $6 versus 6. I'm not sure that's even if we have only one creative in the ad set, it will be the same result. But this is actually what also user acquisition manager does. Of course, he can make it manually in the report. It's just easier. I mean, you can just it's already calculated, all metrics that you need. It's also very good. What I really love, that's all actual metrics compare with KPIs, which is really cool because I know that in a lot of companies, we have only actual metrics and we keep KPIs in our mind and we have to think about what is our KPI for cost per lead. I'm not sure. But now if it's added here as a number in a project context, it's compared here. Yeah, we probably have to. We can tell it to the agent, right? Can we make an action in order to stop this creative? I hope it will work with demo account, but let's see.
Yeah, demo account is disconnected for actions from the live data, so we don't change something.
But we'll probably try. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can go further. because we have so many things that I really want to show you. This is only the one
Yeah,
piece.
let's move to, like, this is to be clear, like, this is the main one. Your whole optimization process is somewhere in the instructions to this agent. Like, you work on it and improve it. Your team you use it every day, and this is basically how you switched from manually managing campaigns to following a workflow where everything is prepared. You just review these actions and improve them over time. Let's move to other workflows.
Another one that I really want to show, it's probably somewhere here, because I didn't open it. Can you put it in the chat? This is like a rule. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second. I just stop the screen because this, I need like 1 minute to find the proper link. Yes, I found it.
Do you want to show rules?
Yes, I wanted to show rules because it's really connected, and I found it, the proper one. Yeah, so the second one, which is really cool, like...
Are you sharing the screen?
I just started, maybe it takes like a minute to be prepared. Yeah, this is really like, I mean, this is really cool. Like, so this is like a kind of 50-50%, like 50% it's automated here, but still you need to click on something. Oh, yes. Here you can see that we can turn off this creative directly from the chat. But when you created a system and manually you, like, for a week or maybe for months, you made decisions manually, and you can see here that these decisions actually drive great results. The next step and stage that you have to make, it's just automated. What I mean by automated, it actually, here in an agent, you can turn on the button auto. It means that all decisions will be made without any proofs, which I think is the next stage that we're gonna right now. Because from the first, you have to double check that all recommendations that agent provides to your team, they drive great results. So you're like 90% sure. It takes like months, I would say, to check it. And if you are sure, let's just automate it for maybe a couple of campaigns. And we have some automations just without any proofs. For example, for creatives, like creatives automatically are turning off when we see bad results. And also for some campaigns where we have like stable results and we want to scale this, we have some automations that's actually, you can auto, it will be automatically increasing the budget if everything is fine in terms of your actual metrics and KPIs. So truly saying, for now, we are not like using all automation. I mean, like automation make, of course, for now, not, because for now we just make it very accurate. Like, first we double check that our approach works fine. If it works fine, so we just create a button auto, and then we see like results when it's auto. And for some scenarios, we made it. For some, we're still like inventing and we're still improving this. But this is the future. I mean, the future is that if you understand like that your approach with agent works well, you have to actually give it to an agent and then see how it works and then calculate the end-to-end result. So I truly believe that like in a month, maybe in a couple, all scenarios that I've shown to you will be fully on the fully on mode, that we just have to monitor and see how it works. But truly saying, we're still like moving it in like small steps towards it. But for some scenarios, like for creatives, it works. Yeah.
So just to summarize this part. So you started with the agent that you just ask questions and play with it and test your hypothesis on data. Then you moved some of your regular things you and your team do to workflows, like basically skills, where you run optimization workflow, it suggests actions, you review them, you every day you improve that workflow to make it more accurate, to take into account more data, and so on. And when you're confident in that, in those suggested actions, you convert it into rules that run automatically.
Correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It relates to any budget actions. It relates to any actions which are connected with your creatives, with your ad sets, like duplicate an ad set, which I already told, like a very common thing in their performance market. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
another thing which I really want to show.
One like methodology question from the chat. I think it's an important one. Konstantin says that the bottleneck is cost of testing, not of cost of creatives. So, do you really ready to spend $100 per new creative just for tests?
On US market, yes, like on US market. So basically, when you work on US market, the cost per click can be around $2 or $3. Like, how many clicks do you have to have in order to at least measure the cost per click? From 50 to 100, actually, to make it a bit more objective. But the cost per lead can be like $30. So that's why it really depends on
So
the
basically,
market.
it's a cost of a few leads.
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on the market. It really depends on the, like, what's your price for the product. Like, our average check is around $6,000. So that's why, like, the more expensive market you work, like, in absolute numbers, yeah, it like, it looks like $100 is like huge. Yeah, but
Okay,
I know that some companies, yeah,
one thing
some
you could try
companies when they
here.
make
Oh,
like
sorry.
some companies who make experiments, sometimes they launch new creatives not on their original market, but maybe like on Indonesia or Latam or Africa or something. They measure results on the alternative market, and when it's good, they upload this creative in their original market. So, which is actually a very common approach among performance teams. But we don't do it right now because results do not replicate, I mean, when we did it before, but who knows, maybe this is an approach as well.
On the like cost of testing side, one thing I really like is to ask an agent to analyze how many cases where you spent like $30, $50, $80 on a creative without any leads or without just one lead, and later it converted into a winning creative that generates a lot of revenue and profits. And this way you can actually like ground in data your decision about this test budget. Like, should it be $100? Should it be 80, 50, 30? And you can make trade-offs there. Okay, we will kill accidentally a few percent of our winning creatives, but we'll save like a 30% of our test budget. And it's really different for different accounts. Like here, every lead is precious, and the LTV of a customer is like you said, it's like $6,000 per customer. So like you need higher thresholds for creative testing just to get any meaningful data. For other companies we work with, I see a lot of cases where you can make decisions based on the first like $5. Yes, you will kill some winners, but if you have strong pipeline of new creatives to test, it's just worth it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Like, for example, we made a decision when we designed the approach of testing that first we make a test in Meta, and if it shows successful, like if we has great results, only after we upload this creative in other channels like in YouTube. So previously we tested like simultaneously Meta and YouTube. It was expensive. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
add
actually
10
jump.
more minutes to our timeline and walk through other examples here.
Yes. So now we're talking about creatives, which is a really crucial part in the performance. That's why I'm going to show you something which can really be helpful for your production team and for your creative team. Basically, usually we have like meetings. Performance team has a meeting with the production team, and we want to understand, like, do we have any winners? Winners actually is a creative which shows like great results. And we have a skill here that identifies and shows our winners, like our top performing creatives in terms of our metrics. And this is really cool because it's really transparent. For the first, like when your creative person, production manager, and my user acquisition manager. So we can see here that we have a couple of super creatives in terms of our metrics, like in terms of CPL and other metrics in the funnel. The first one is static. The second one is video. And the main actually idea that we have, like, can we add these creatives which are winners, so in our ad sets? And actually this framework, then later, it will show in what assets or campaigns we can add these creatives which are winners in order to have better results. Because sometimes if you have a lot of ad sets, if you have a lot of campaigns, a lot of creatives, like hundreds, as a human, you can just forget that in some ad sets, probably you do not have the winner who is a winner. Like if you add a winner in your ad set, which is like normal, it can really change the result. So I truly believe that if you receive a winner in terms of your metrics, so you have to put this creative in your all ad sets that you have in order to have better results. This is the first one. But the second, which is really cool, is relaunching your top performing creatives. So let's say that now all your creatives are burnt out, and it usually happens sometimes. The approach that we use in TripleTen, which really works well, we see, we ask an agent, like, can you show us our best creatives that's previously shown great results, but now in some ad sets or campaigns, we are not using it. And I know that this is actually very, very good creatives here. One of this creative actually spent probably around $500,000, like overall. And it really works. Like you can see your creatives, which you can relaunch. You can take it and then you can relaunch it. And this and this and this. And then it shows like in what campaigns, in what ad sets, it's basically have to be added in order to have great like results. So I really love it because basically your end-to-end result, it really depends on creative part. And you have to be sure that all your campaigns, all your ad sets, they include all your best creatives that you produced like this month and probably which were produced previously. Trust me, then if a specific creative like started to show bad numbers, but after a month, you can relaunch this creative again and it will have good results. It works, both. It works in Meta, in YouTube, in TikTok, and it really sometimes it's a really useful approach. But you have to know like what creatives that are not launching right now that can be like candidates for relaunching. And as an agent, it knows like what creatives are using right now because it has the data like what creatives are running right now. That's why he can actually show only those creatives which were not running right now, but has had great results previously. And yes, user acquisition manager can take it and just upload. I love it, especially because it really shows you, you can click on this. It should be, I don't know,
It's
like this is on top of the.
It's not connected to,
But
yeah.
But this one, yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I love it.
One thing to add here, like in order for this to work, you need to match multiple ads that are actually like different. They have different ad IDs, but they use the same creative. So in your case, in TripleTen, like you have like a naming of the creative somewhere there. A lot of teams, they don't have that. So we have an algorithm that actually matches different ads with same creative. So the agent knows um, how to group multiple ads into same creatives. Otherwise, this like creative lifecycle things don't work. And another thing to add, I actually have somewhere a skill that analyzes creative lifecycle, and I saw accounts where you can relaunch a creative 30 times over a course of like 6 months, and it still performs much better than the average, like in top 3% by performance. Like of course it's like not all creatives are like this. A lot of like you can relaunch them like 2 times, 5 times, 10 times, but the best can be relaunched like 30 times.
Yeah, and also the thing actually this is also very cool. Like we in the TripleTen, for each creative we have a tag. It's a description, like some parameters and tags that you use in order to describe your creative. Like, is it a UGC or is it an influencer? Is it AI or non-AI? Is it a video or a banner? What's the hook? And the thing is that we have a huge table with all our creatives, which are tagged. And we connected also this table to an agent and ask him to connect this data with tags and creatives with our numbers. And it identified some patterns, like if you test like UGC creative, it has much stronger chances to have a better cost per lead and cost per connection and cost per MQL than, for example, when you use like AI. I love it. Like, it's really cool. It's very simple because I know that some companies and some people, they present that you have to use like AI Gemini in order to analyze your video, but this is very difficult and this is very, I would say, expensive. We did it. It was expensive. My recommendation, if you have a creative, you can put in the name of the creative like some important tags, like is it a UGC, actor, hook, and product and author. These parts you can put in the naming, and then you can ask agent or whatever AI to make some conclusions, like, do you see any trends like that AI creatives show worse results than non-AI creatives? I think it actually can also help the production team. And you can also make it manually in Excel. But why do you need to make it manually if you have actually a very good like model here, which can really help you to do it?
I actually have this workflow in another demo account. So probably a topic for another webinar.
Yeah. Another thing which I wanna show, I wanna show other skills. Basically, I do believe that every user acquisition manager has to have specific skills which can help him to improve his results in his channels. For example, we have like a lot of skills and all. For Google search, one of the activity that's we make, it's like negatives and adding negative keywords in our campaigns. And everybody knows that we always hate it. Like, you have to know, like, we hate work with this, but you can actually automate this process as well. So we have a skill which help us to
one second here. Like I also know this process. Been doing it myself manually when I worked with a marketer, and it was like 10 years ago. I really thought that it should be automated by now. Like, what's the hard part? Why we're still talking about this?
Yeah, Of course, I mean, some people, they will tell me like, why do you need to add negatives if actually your campaigns, they use automation strategies, like you optimize your campaigns on events? The thing is that in order to algorithm identifies that this query or keyword, this word performs well or not, it needs to collect some data. So you have to spend some amount of dollars. So algorithm receives like 100 clicks, 0 conversions. And then he can make the conclusion, yes, like probably we don't need to show the ads to this keyword. But the thing is that as you have, if, for example, if you use a broad match, but we use a broad match in order to scale campaigns, you have to prevent to spend a lot of budget on those keywords, which will never have chances to have like a good CPL or etc. And that's why we have a process like where agent, so it's connected with the Google Ads data, and it's very nice because it's not only using the keyword, it's also using the raw data for query. Query is actually the exact word that a person types in Google on search. And there is also some, I would say, not as like calculations. It's not very easy. Like it take the word. It also shows you how many queries with 0 conversions here, what was the waste, and it's rank this table based on the cost conversion. But what is more important here, like when you run your campaigns on the foreign market, let's say it's Spanish, or let's say, I don't know, Portuguese or something, French, sometimes you don't know the language, and that's why you cannot be sure like why this keyword shows bad results. But here you can ask your agent, like, can you explain like what's the reason why this keyword can show bad results? How user acquisition usually make it? So usually they open the Google, they type this search in the US location, and then they analyze organic results. And then they see that, for example, when we analyze like camp or development, it appears like some development agencies, for example, let's say random example or something, or certifications, they see that there are some specific certifications like from Google, and then they understand like, yes, probably this is not a good keyword for my campaign, let's remove it. And it takes time, it takes resources, but if an agent can actually help you to identify it, why not? Like, I think this can be good. But the main is not about like description. The main that it's also analyzed like some data with some approach. And we see here that we compare cost conversion with average cost conversion. And those conversions that's as worse cost conversions, we probably have to first turn off, and then we can separate them and add it in a new campaign, which with a lower cost conversion bidding strategy, because it doesn't mean that this keyword is a bad keyword. It means that probably we have to separate this keyword and set a lower bidding. So in order to have like clicks, but cheaper than it has right now. And there are also conversions just with 0 conversions. It's also important. And also agent recommends like in what, I don't know how it's, I forgot how it's translated, but it can be exact or phrase or broad, which really help you not to exclude like a valuable traffic, because it's also, I remember, it's also analyzed like historical data for this conversion to really understand like, do you really need to stop it if it had previously great results or not? If it always was worse, yes. My actual recommendation, like if you use broad match, you don't need all keywords from the planet. Yeah, you probably can exclude some keywords which can be probably useful for your business, but you don't need them now. Yes, you can exclude them. You can work like with dozens of keywords, and after you decide to scale, you can add it. with some new bidding strategies or something. That's why what I'm talking in that's all user acquisition managers, so they can create some skills. For example, we have a very good skill, this one, because a lot of people, when we work with Google, one of the important things that we have to monitor is our quality score in search. It's really make difference. It really influences the CPC, and we have a skill which download all bad assets from Google with their low score, and after it creates new assets for this one based on our context, based on our rules that we created, based on our value propositions that we added in context, and then it's created, and then my manager collected and uploaded again in order to improve the quality score for the search campaign, which I think this is also like a very routine task that you never want to do. But I think that AI can actually really help you with a lot of routine. Like performance is actually a lot of routine, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at numbers and
talking about routine. Like let's gradually wrap it up. So is it fair to say, like, no, with the skills and workflows, you mentioned that your user acquisition manager responsible for Google is building the skill to work with quality scores and stuff. So on the one hand, you have templates of skills and workflows and rules in our system. You have like our AI engineers that help you build the stuff. But in the end, you and your team can improve this thing over time, like yourself. You don't need anyone.
Yeah, because for example, it's really funny like how it works, why I love it. I mean, I'm really excited. You can see I'm really excited when I'm talking, like very honest opinion. When I try to invent something, I'm like asking AI, like, so I want to do this, like I want to create like a relaunch candidate skill. I'm not sure what is the best way to do it. Like, can you please help me, like, to identify what will be the good approach? It gives me like recommendations, like, let's do it this way. We do it this way. Then I look at the end-to-end result. I'm like, probably I need to add this, this, and this, and like, we make such small steps and make some inventions here. For example, my popular questions, like, so I have a framework here. I love these questions, like, can you please give me some recommendations that's like, what can work worse? I mean, do you see any rooms for improvement for this specific analysis? Like, do you see that probably there can be some mistakes or something? And it gives you some like ideas, and you as a manager, you can try to sort these ideas in like the way that's, it's probably has a huge risk. Like it was before, we made research like based on 10 conversions. Then I asked, like, can you calculate like what's the percentage of mistakes we can make if we make a decision based on 10 conversions? And it shows like that if you make a decision based on 10 conversions, there's 50% to make a wrong decision if your actual metric has a deviation up to 10% or 15%. And we usually we want to make really very close. And if it's like 50% to make such a mistake, you just flip the coin. That's why I'm like, it's really cool when you can communicate with like an agent in order to improve something. And that's why I love like invent some cool things to make performance better. And I know that's like, we don't have time, but I know that it's usually always like frustrating because you're like, but I can make it manually. Like I can just open the Excel file or report and make the same. But I know that it's like difficult to refuse from the old approach because you're like, hey, AI actually makes mistakes. Like I will try to make it by myself, but that's actually like a trick with your mind. I will make more mistakes if I make decisions by myself. I will make mistakes every day because sometimes I see that the campaign actually has a great CAC in the report. Sometimes I'm like 5 purchases, but 5 is okay. Let's scale it. 5, it's not 0, it's 5. Then we scale it, and then we have worse results. But I didn't check the preliminary results, like in the funnel. That's like, but the cost per connection, the cost per SQL is expensive. It's a random. Like if we see a very good customer acquisition cost just randomly, an anomaly. But I was like, I didn't check it, and you want to scale. Like your brain actually wants to see a good result. Like you see 5 purchases with a great customer acquisition cost. Let's scale it. It usually happens.
Got it. Okay, let's summarize, like from high level, what changed for you, for your team, and for the project, like business as a whole.
So basically, the first output result, it saves a lot of time. I would say hours. Definitely, it saves a lot of time. The second one, in terms of business results, like with this approach, we are on track. In terms of our targets, we are just on track. Like we use this approach, and it helps us to achieve our goals, which I think is enough, which is good. The third one, it's really transparent, like because so many people, like stakeholders, they ask me like, Max and your team, how do you make decisions? Like, are you sure that you make decisions properly? I'm like, here's an approach. Let's talk about not like me on my team. Let's talk about the approach. If the approach is good and we align on this approach, we align. So that's why it makes it very transparent. And the last thing, if you make action here, any actions, the good thing that it actually saves it. And after you made the action, you can ask an agent, like, can you evaluate like the result of this action? I know that some companies, they try to push their managers to create like a huge Excel file where you have to write down all actions that you make in the ads manager. Never works. Never. Like who actually love doing it? Like you make it for the first months and then you just refuse it. But if you make all your actions here, it's automatically saved in the agent. So you can actually ask him like, can you analyze all actions that you made for this month and tell me like what was good decisions and bad? I think this is like it's really cool.
Cool. Okay. Shout out to Artyom Tokarev, who thinks that it's an auto webinar. Just wanted to do it live.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
some people think that I look like a crazy person, but I'm like crazy about. I mean, I just love it. Like that's why I'm shining when I'm telling about it.
Where do you think it's going? Like, what will be automated? How the role will look like? Just very briefly.
So yeah, sorry, I just read the chat. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I remember your question. So I think definitely if we're talking about user acquisition managers, the main expertise, it's not about like shifting budget from one ad set or one campaign to another. So the main expertise is like to suggest and create like some new improvements in the funnel, to analyze trends in social media with trend watchers, and come to a creative manager and tell him, hey, I noticed that in my industry, this trend, it's really shining. So let's make creatives like the same way. So I do believe that like 80%, like a lot of like teams, what they do, the main responsibility is to shift budget from one to another. But it's like how you make it. You just look at one figure, compare it with another figure, and make a decision. So we don't need humans for that. But what we need actually, I think, to be creative, to be like as a leader, if you see that all creatives are not working, like you as a manager, you receive hundreds of creative, dozens, and it doesn't work. So it's your responsibility to create like to escalate it and create a plan and come to a team and tell, hey, let's stop making creative like based on our brand book. Let's make it this way because I know that it works. And then the team started to work, like create such creatives, and it started to work. Like this is I would say this is a skill that I think it's very valuable when you can change the result.
Okay, so it's less about looking at numbers and moving things manually to more creative stuff, because like the manual stuff will be just automated. Okay, Max, we have probably 30 more questions in the comments that are worth talking about, but we're like completely out of time for today, 1 hour, 20 minutes. So thank you very, very much thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Thank you, Max, for sharing your case and talking how things really work. Is there like, I invite everyone to check out Plurio. I want everyone to check out Max's LinkedIn. Do you post on X, Twitter?
I posted like in LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll
I've
send
actually
everyone link to Max's social networks. Yeah, so subscribe, everyone. Check out Plurio. Check out the content that we've created. We'll send everyone a recording. We'll probably send something like structured based on the content of the webinar. And hopefully see you next time.
Yep.
Anything,
Thank you.
anything to add?
I see there are like hundreds of questions actually in the chat. Probably maybe I can leave my contact here so you can ask me.
Yeah, we're both always welcome to connect directly. Yeah, feel free to reach out.
So feel free to reach out so I can actually answer your questions maybe whenever you have. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.